bringing it to them all day. All day. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Win or lose, we bringing it to you always. Always. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Orange or black, we rebuild the pack. No matter where we at, you know we coming back. Section 336, we on this, so tune in. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Yeah, welcome to Birdland. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Now, here come the boys from Section 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, Next Generation of Baltimore Sports Talk. I'm your dearly listening host, Matt Soroka. And as always, I'm joined by a guy who only talks to people who listens to his podcast. If you don't listen to this podcast, he's not going to talk to you, the button lover, Josh Soroka.
What's that? I don't understand the reference.
Did you see the interview with Patrick Beverly, the basketball player, after his game about asking about the podcast?
No, I don't. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Okay, right, well, Patrick Beverly is a basketball player. He was being interviewed in his locker room.
Okay.
And there was a lady there trying to interview him, and he said, "Do you listen to my podcast?" And she said, "No." Or, "Do you subscribe to my podcast?"
Right.
And she said, "No." And she said, "Well, you can't be here and interviewing me." And it was a group of reporters, and she was one of them.
Oh.
And then, she continued to stand there with a microphone. And Patrick Beverly answered a question, and then Patrick Beverly looked over, surprised that she was still there, and said, "You can't be here. You don't subscribe to my podcast. Get out." And made her walk away from the locker room, and then he had to come out and apologize. Never came out and supported the reporter, obviously, but just funny.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I guess I can start to do that in my everyday life. As we'll talk a little bit about my new job, which is all podcasting.
Yeah, let's get into it. We both have big personal news to share.
You have big personal news? You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, I texted you it earlier.
Okay.
Well, I'll go first then.
All right, go first. Let's start with your big personal news.
All right, and then we'll share your big personal
because
news.
I don't know how clearly I am lost on your big personal news.
Well, maybe you were still caught up in your own big personal news that my big personal news didn't even enter your brain.
Hold on. Is this Little League news?
Yes.
All right, fine. I don't count Little League news as personal news. So, all right, let's start with your Little League news.
All right.
Sure.
And then we'll talk about your personal news, which I think both these are on similar levels.
I think not.
Okay. Well, I think you. I don't diminish your big news, but I think you're diminishing my big news here.
Okay. I am diminishing your big news, but go ahead and share it.
Josh, you recall we did this podcast last week, and if anyone listens to the entire episode, get to the end, I was really depressed. I was really depressed about my Little League season.
I believe I don't know if it was during the podcast or after the podcast where you told me I am tired of coaching.
Yeah, I was done. I was done. I was not looking forward to the game.
Right. I think
we lost the previous game, I think 7-1. We've been blown out, and that was one of the closest games of the season. Our defense stinks. Our offense stinks.
Right.
I thought people were getting worse. It was really depressing.
I think we were commiserating because I had a practice where I was just yelling and screaming at all my kids, and they were just walking off. So, it was a tough week for Little League last week.
But it's almost like, Josh, the baseball gods heard my crying and knew I needed a little something to keep me going. And goodness knows they brought it to me on Thursday night as we got our first win of the season. We dropped 18 runs. We won 18-17. There was a bit of controversy at the end. The Pittsburgh Pirates thought it was a tie game, 18-18.
Okay.
And honestly, it was their disadvantage because we were up first and they were up second, and they got caught up in the time thing where they were just out of time.
I hate the time thing. The time
which
thing
is the worst. Yeah, I don't know why you
worst.
can't finish the inning. But they got caught up with the time thing. But anyway, at the end result, we won 18-17. I mean, my team dropped 18 runs, and it was not just errors. They were hitting line drives after line drives to the outfield. Silas hit the ball well. All these guys who struggled all year to hit the ball. We scored 1 run the previous night or the previous game, and now all of a sudden we scored 18. Just everyone's hitting the ball into the outfield. It made me feel so good. It made me feel like the whole season was not a loss. My
Yes.
kids were beyond excited. They were losing their minds. Parents were excited. It was just a glorious moment. And it made me again want to pick up my clipboard and not stop coaching. So
Nope.
it lit a fire again to me that this is possible. We can win a game. We can actually improve at this thing called Little League. I felt like Manager Hyde must have felt like when he first started managing the team and they would get a win every now and then.
We
All is not lost.
No, I remember that first win. I believe we've had a conversation here about like what would you rather do, win a softball championship or a Little League championship? And my answer was the Little League
Well, and you
because
had a much longer losing streak than I did. My losing streak was like 6, and it was very depressing for me.
what was mine at? A season and a half?
Yeah, your season and a half.
Yeah, I think I went a whole season with no wins.
Yeah.
But I also got a Little League win this weekend. So got 3 wins. And I did not, for the first time in my Little League career, did not finish the regular season in last place.
Oh, nice! Congrats.
I am in 5th place out of 6.
Yeah,
So
You're
big step up.
you're moving up in the rebuild process.
Oh, yeah. Better seeding for the playoffs this weekend. All good in my Little League. But
It's playoffs this weekend.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
So a couple days. But great. Congratulations on your first win. I remember how great that felt.
Oh, it felt so good. I wanted to cry right there in the middle of the mound.
Did any parents tell you congratulations?
I mean, just my assistant coach. We congratulated each other.
Yeah. Did anyone praise you for your coaching?
No.
See, that's how this year I've made some big moves where I'll get congratulations at the end, and people will be like, "That was some great moves you did with the pitching.
Oh, really?
Great coaching." And that feels even better. Like suddenly it's like, when I pulled Bryson out and put Matthias in, that was the right move. I made a smart move there. Like when they tell me I did a good coaching move because the kids played well, it makes me feel even better. And that's how I had it this week. They're like, everything you pulled was perfect. Your positioning was perfect. And I'm like, that makes me feel special. But even though it's all the kids.
Yeah, that's especially at my level, there are very few moves to make.
Yeah.
Like, I think I deserve some credit because I think this was my best pitched game of the year.
Right, because you're on coach pitch, so you're actually throwing the ball.
So I need kids to hit the ball, and I feel like, especially Sass, I always throw worse to him. I think because I feel the pressure to throw a good strike, and it makes me throw worse because I never could handle pressure well. Yeah. But I'm starting to learn like where your players like the ball, and throwing better. But there's very few coaching moves for me to even make outside of just pitching. Though I did, like I had Sass start in third, and I moved him to the outfield. And I did some infield maneuvering.
No, and that's. For me, it's a lot of infield positioning, and then it's obviously the coaching, the pitching. And then it's telling kids, no, you can't catch. No, you can't catch. No, you can't catch. No, you can't play second base. And I kind of got to be stern on some of the kids in order to make sure we win the game.
Yeah, I never have kids asking for positions and stuff, which is nice.
Yeah, you'll get there.
Yeah, because I think they're too young and they're too scared of me, to be honest.
Well, and they don't know. They don't know why one position's better than the other.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a kid say I want to play infield or something, but
right.
But I did more than usual. Usually, I just sit back and watch the game. I did a lot of shouting this game because it was so competitive throughout. Shouting as in like, don't throw the ball. Shouting at like, throw it to first. We get it. Kind of had double plays to the point where the other coach said like, calm down. And I was like, sir, we've been blown out of every single game. With all due respect, I will not calm down.
I shout in every game.
Have to.
I am. When your kids are in the field. Wait, do you have dugouts?
Yeah, we have dugouts.
Where are you when the kids are in the field?
I'm outside the dugout, just outside the dugout.
Okay. I pace between first base and home, outside the dugout, in the grass. Yeah. And I'll get in my mindset of, I don't want to block the bleachers. But it's who I'm yelling at. If I'm yelling at the pitcher, I try to line up right with the pitcher. If I'm yelling at the catcher, I get closer. If I'm yelling at the fielders, I move back some.
Yeah. And just to clarify.
And I yell on every single pitch. When the pitcher throws a ball, I yell to the pitcher, good pitch, or bring it up a little. Bring it down a little. I coach the pitcher on every single pitch.
Yeah, I don't do any of that while I'm pitching. But I'm very usually I don't say much at all. This game, all the yelling was not, I don't praise them when they do something well. I probably should, but so many other people are praising them. I feel like
praise a lot.
everyone has it covered. Yeah. But I don't yell critiques from there. I'm not yelling critiques. I'm yelling instructions in live time. So like when the ball is hit, I'm yelling them, go to second, hold the ball, throw it, because they still don't know what to do. Or a lot of the kids still don't know what to do. So my yelling is more in the moment instructions after the ball is hit.
Okay. I yell defensively. I'll yell, throw the ball, back to the pitcher, back to the pitcher, back to the pitcher, and stuff like that. I'll yell while the ball is live. I yell after every pitch to the pitcher. And then what do you do when they get that third out? If they ever get that third out. When the team leaves the field. I walk up to the line, basically. To the trough,
give high fives as they run in.
I give high fives, and I slap the pitcher on the back, tell him he did a great job, and all that. So
and that's usually the moment, too, where I will grab a player if something happened in the inning and kind of have a little one-on-one pep talk right there.
Nope, I do the
either
same
good or
thing.
bad. I think that's a good chance to do it.
I do the same thing. And then I get everyone in the dugout, yell about who's the next three up, and then I head over to third base. And I trust my assistant coaches to manage the dugout and coach first base. And I head over to third base. And from third base, it gives me the ability to walk up and talk to each batter when they're on deck, kind of about their approach, look at the batter, look at the pitcher. And then I wander back to third base. I yell. We're still at the age where it's like I yell across, steal, go, 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 go.
Yeah, we're not stealing at my level.
We're doing signs. I've got my two hands on the hat. Basically, we have real simple hats. If I grab simple signs, if I grab my hat with two hands to the brim, then that means if the ball drops, if the ball gets past the catcher, you can steal the base.
Okay.
If I grab it and nod my head up and down, that means as soon as the catcher catches the ball, you steal the base. Because we have closed bases, you can't run until the catcher gets the ball. Gotcha. And if I touch it with one hand, it means we're not stealing, just stay.
Okay.
And so I have the signs.
Are you going to change your signs for the playoffs? Because all these teams I've seen you're not worried about sign stealing. You're not worried about trash can banging.
There is no sign stealing because the signs only are for my player to get his foot placement and know what to watch for. Because so if I give the two hands, hey, if the ball gets past the catcher you're running, as soon as it gets past the catcher, I'm yelling, go, 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 go. Slide, 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 slide. I start yelling right away.
Yeah.
The sign is
really, you're not surprising anybody here.
No. The sign is just telling it's doing twofold. It's getting my 10-year-olds used to the idea of signs, and it's telling them how to get their body set and body ready to run.
Yeah. The Pirates, I never saw this before. I guess you can do this. The Pirates, in the middle of our game, they were on defense. We got a couple hits, and the coach went out there and said timeout, and he called up the entire defense, outfield, infield, all huddled up right there by second base for a little pep talk, and then send it back out. I never seen that before. That was new to me.
I don't know. Only time I do that is to run out to talk to the pitcher one-on-one. I don't pull in the whole team. I have on occasion pulled when the whole team gets off the field. I pull the whole team together for a quick huddle before we bat, in between halves.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Your kids are still young.
Yeah, they're still young. They're still young, and maybe I'm too passive as a coach.
Do you give game balls for every game?
No.
Okay. See, I give game balls.
I couldn't even keep track. To be honest, Josh, I get to the end of the game. It's so chaotic for me.
Right.
I don't even know who had a hit, who got out, who made a play. I don't even know what happened. It's a blur.
I keep a scorebook on my phone with Game Changer. It's the app that keeps a scorebook that I do while I'm coaching.
So you're keeping score while you're coaching?
Every pitch, where it's hit, who makes the play, all that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll make mental notes and talk to the other coaches and make notes when a great play happens so that I remember that kid gets the game ball. And then we give out these tokens that are like sportsmanship tokens, and it's a little token. It gets you $1 at the snack bar. Okay. So this week was the last regular season game, and I dug in my bag, and I had like 5 or 6 tokens, and I just gave them all out, where normally it's one per game.
Yeah.
So that way I could hit a bunch of kids that haven't gotten game balls or anything.
Yeah. All right, cool.
But yeah, congratulations on your first win. Hopefully there's many more.
Yeah, I mean, this win is enough to sustain me. I don't know up to the end of the season, but I feel good about the next 2 weeks at least. Sam, whatever happens, because we had this game. We had this moment.
No, it is. That's how it goes. And it's like we got a big win, which is great because my team has been playing bad, has been having a bad attitude, and we played well. We had a good attitude. We got the win, which is perfect timing to get me excited going into the playoffs on Tuesday.
Yeah. And this is to tie it back to Orioles. I mean, this is not to the Orioles specifically, but to the beauty of baseball and the beauty of a series and one game. The Pirates we played, they're better than us. If we play them 10 times, they'll win maybe all 10, at least 9 of them. We just had this amazing performance where everybody played their best game on this single day, and we ended up winning. And that's that's the beauty of baseball. And it's less I think the older you get, right, the more even it becomes, the higher the competitiveness. Like at 8U, you have some extreme, drop-offs with competition and with ability with the players. But still, and any given day, you can see something amazing happen, and kind of what makes baseball fun and great.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, that's part of why doing the show tonight is going to be a lot of fun, because the Orioles are playing that way where everything's clicking.
Yeah, and it's really surprising. I'll say that. I'm really surprising.
All right, let's get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
I would like to share some personal news. I think we teased it last week, or maybe we didn't. Maybe you asked me about it afterwards because I didn't bring it up, because last week was too soon to share it. But I can now share because it's been announced on the program, and I've announced it online.
It's Facebook official. Yeah, you're Facebook official.
It is Facebook official, and it's Facebook official because it became podcast official on Friday after hiding behind a veil for 2.5, 3 weeks.
What, a literal veil?
I was hiding behind not the explosive veil. I
was hiding behind this veil for 2 weeks.
See.
I would talk like this.
I see.
But now I can officially say that I have accepted a new job, that I am the executive producer and business manager of the Mike O'Mara Show podcast. So I get to do full-time podcasting and kind of take all this knowledge from building Section 336 to all the other shows, I consulted with over the years, like Glenn Clark and Chad Dukes and some of the others. And now I get to make it my day job. So I'm
awesome.
Really excited. You guys can all check out the Mike O'Mara Show. It's, everywhere you get podcasts, where you get this, MikeO'MaraShow.com. A lot of people in the Baltimore, D.C. area probably know Mike O'Mara from the old Don and Mike show. That was a huge radio show in the D.C., Baltimore area, or the Mike O'Mara Show, which was on 106.7 The Fan for many years. But real excited to work with Mike and Rob over there and just podcast every day, all day, thinking podcasts and how to grow a podcast, which, hey, it's got to be good for this show as well.
Yeah, it can't hurt.
No.
It's about time, Josh. It only took you, 15 years of doing the show?
What are we on this show? 12 years, I think?
Yeah.
I think we're 12 years in.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited. And in fact, my last day at my current job is Tuesday. And this Wednesday is going to be weird because I'll wake up, I'll do a podcast in the morning with Mike, and then I'll sit here and I'll do social media and marketing and call sponsors and billing and all that type of stuff. That's the back end of podcasting.
Yeah.
So I'm real excited.
Congrats, Josh. That's awesome. Congrats. It's cool when a fun little hobby can turn into a money-making job operation. That's
know.
Cool.
I am 44 years old and changing careers. I was in the audio video, like residential industry for 25 years. So to be able to change and mix things up a little bit is really cool. And who knows what the future holds, but it's an exciting chance to podcast.
All right. Shoot, maybe I should change careers too. Well, I got a few years to think about it since you're older than me to think about my next career change.
Yeah, you got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. And yeah, are you on it says you talk sometimes on there, or do they have video? Are you on video too?
Yep. I'm on video. I would talk. I made Friday in the bonus show of the Mike O'Mara Show. I made my unveiling, my video turned on, my voice effects turned off of who I've been for the past couple weeks. And now this week is where I get to really dig in full time and let's grow this podcast.
Yeah. you guys did the big reveal. That puts pressure on you as the person being revealed. People get their hopes up, anticipation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was expecting disappointment because people weren't going to know who I was.
Right.
And they were guessing old.
They were guessing cool people.
like old in terms of the show and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the show's 14 years old on the podcast. And but I'll tell you, I guess people are excited because through the 2-3 weeks of me hidden behind the mask, I proved myself and made the show better. So they were excited no matter who it was. And we made the unveiling on Friday. Saturday, I probably got over 100 Facebook friend requests.
Oh, really? From people
So
from the
they
show?
are a very rabid and excited fan base. And
that's cool.
And it'll be cool to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, congrats. All right, so that's the big person news.
Move on. So yeah,
big personal news. Yeah. A Little League win and a new career.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and podcast.
Yeah.
More podcasting.
Yeah.
So, all right. While we were dealing with this stuff, though, the Orioles had an amazing weekend. Do we have I don't even know where to start. Do we have the best pitching staff in baseball?
Boston would have something to say about that. Boston, I think, has been. Certainly the past week, it's hard to imagine anyone who's better than us. If you look at the stats,
1 run today, 1 run yesterday, 0 runs on Friday, 2 runs on Thursday, 2 runs on Wednesday, 2 runs on Tuesday, 0 runs on Monday. How about that for a week?
Yeah, it's a pretty good week.
Yeah, that's a pretty good week.
Well, and if you look at just this weekend, just this weekend against the Reds, where our starters gave up 0 runs, which is pretty good.
Yes.
And if you were to tell me that we gave up 0 runs, I would envision who the starters are. It's probably Burns, Rodriguez, Bradish. That's the no runs.
Right.
So it wasn't just about no runs, which is really awesome. It's about who it is. It's Cole Irvin. It's Dean Kramer.
Well, yeah.
It's John Means
being back and looking great.
Who 2 weeks ago people said, "Is he done? Can he not come back from this injury? Is he done?" And he goes out there and looks as good as he has ever looked in his career.
Did he go 6 or 7?
6.
All right, so John Means went 6 coming back.
Yeah, and Cole Irvin, I think, went 6 2/3, but both of them were low on the pitch count and could have went 7 and 8.
Yes. Cole Irvin's is now 3 straight games with a 0.
Yeah.
Cole Irvin's has something that's working. It's clicking for Cole Irvin's right now.
Yeah, and we talked about in the spring training how his fastball velocity was up. But it's not even really about the fastball.
No, he said how he worked out with Baseball Ninja. I saw him talking this week about how it's a mental state now for him. Which is amazing. And I hope we can get Cole on here in the future to talk about it. But there's no way I'm reaching out while it's working so well for him. I ain't touching that because I want to know more about this mental approach because we've talked so much about how pitching is mental mechanics, repeating the same thing over and over again. And we're clearly seeing it different with Cole Irvin this year.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And he also is going deep into games. I mean, he could have went much further against the Reds.
Each one of these starts, he could have gone deeper.
He went 7 innings against Oakland. He went 6 2/3 against the Orioles. So he's getting deep into games. All the starters, right, are going deep into games. Our bullpen is not being used that much, and it's again when we started kind of laying out how the season could look with the starting pitching options, and we had when John Mean comes back and Kyle Bradish. You add that to Corbin Burns and Grayson Rodriguez, who I know is injured right now, but we'll talk about him in a second, along with Dean Kramer. Then you also had Tyler Wells. Most of the talk was you add up all those guys, and Cole Irvin's at the end of that list, right? He's the first one to move to the pen.
Correct.
He'll make a nice long man if he can hold on to his job as a long man. Now, who's gonna tell him he's not a starter anymore?
No.
Not Brendan Hyde. not Mike Elias. I mean, I don't care what happens. Irvin will be a starter no matter what. Like, he is going to start for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
And it's going to be complicated numbers. I don't know how it's going to work out, especially when Grayson Rodriguez comes back. But even before he comes back, it's going to be kind of a problem to figure it out. But Cole Irvin isn't going anywhere. But they say, well, where's someone going to go? You're going to – I mean, Dean Kramer has pitched so well. It's a great problem to have. I am shocked that all these pitchers are pitching well. It doesn't surprise me that Corbin Burns is pitching well. It shocks me how well Irvin has pitched. It shocked me that Bradish came back at all. I thought for sure with that UCL sprain, he's going to be shut down.
You've been saying that all. Yeah, you've been saying that since it happened.
Yeah, I didn't believe
until he
back.
pitches.
And he's back, and he looked great. And then we were joking that first inning. He pitched brilliant in that first inning and somehow ended up with the bases loaded. That was a little bit of a bizarre start to the game. He got his pitch count up, but his stuff looked great. Yeah. John Means, who 2 starts ago gave up like 10 runs, he got like 1 out at Norfolk. All of a sudden, he looks dominant.
Well,
that shocks me. And then the Irvin stuff shocks. So it's like I'm so surprised, not just that we're pitching well, but who is pitching well.
And these games are against the Yankees and the Reds. These aren't bad teams. The Reds aren't an amazing team, but they're not bad.
Oh, yeah, and the Royals, going back with Irvin, the Royals.
Before that, we had the Royals. We've been playing good teams.
Yeah.
Even Oakland, who we had a couple blown saves with, Oakland's a good team.
Wow, that's
their pitching staff's good.
I don't know. I don't know if I go far as good team.
All right, fine.
They got a good closer. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, the team ERA in the last 6 games, starters and bullpen, is 1.17. If you go another week and make it the last 13 games, so the past 2 weeks, the team ERA is 2.23. And like one of the negatives is our bullpen. But still, when you look at those numbers,
the bullpen's pitching well.
The bullpen's okay. We're getting through it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's incredible, and we can talk about a possible weakness at closer, but even that, we're nitpicking here because we need some nitpick.
Right. We totally are. Yeah, Kimball is very frustrating, but we're nitpicking because we have other arms in the bullpen, and we've got Rodriguez that we're gonna have to find a spot for in this rotation. We've got Wells, which I assume we're gonna have to find a spot for in this bullpen at some point. And so, yes, we're totally nitpicking. And if you want to nitpick more, Holiday didn't work out. But Mateo's having a great week.
Yeah, even the role players, right? The performance of McKenna and
even
Mateo.
McKenna, who we all like to hate, is doing fine.
Yeah. I was not concerned about this offense. Now, this offense also has exceeded expectations. I did not expect Jordan Westberg to be this good. I thought he would be good, not this good.
Westberg has really stepped up.
Yeah. Colton Cowser, I know he struggled a little bit recently, but he is quickly turning into, I was talking to my son today. His birthday is next week. And we're like, well, what do you want for your birthday? And he's like, I don't want anything. He doesn't know what he wants. And I was like, what about is there any Orioles player that maybe you want to, Scherzer or whatever? And then I did this, Josh. This is kind of like planting the seed, like giving him the option, like when you're dating someone, say, hey, listen, do you want to see other people? Just kind of throwing it out there casually to see the seriousness. I said, hey, listen, Silas, you don't just need to get Orioles jerseys. If there's someone else, another team that you would like his jersey.
No Braves jerseys.
Well, Josh, he's going to be 7, so it's appropriate. You had a Marlins gear at 7.
All right,
maybe not 7, maybe a little later than that.
No.
But I was just checking it out, right, to see.
All right.
And I thought maybe go with a Brave. I also said maybe someone who's retired, like a Ken Griffey Jr. or something.
7's a little young to be like, kind of see what your kid's orientation is, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
What are you into?
Yeah. Well, and he said two names, and one of them was Colton Cowser.
Okay.
Like Colton Cowser has turned into his favorite player. I don't know if it's all the move stuff and the cows, but he's turned into Silas's favorite player.
Cowser has gotten a lot of hate this week with him cooling off, but he's still batting 310.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah, you say that. I got a lot of
complain.
hate. Who's hating Cowser?
I see a lot of hate online about him cooling off.
Okay. I mean, I think, listen, we'll see how Colton Cowser is at the end of the year. This is the same way where people criticizing Santander, people criticizing Cedric Mullins. Like, these baseball players, the game of baseball, like, it's hard because X and social media is such a reactionary game-to-game thing, moment to moment. And baseball is such a long, drawn-out, like 162 games to kind of average stuff out. And it like punishes overreactions and rewards patience.
Yes.
Like, can you imagine just a manager making decisions like they do on X, like just responding to every single thing that happens? And so Santander has proven over years that he's a good hitter.
Correct.
And I'm so glad he played well today.
Who got hate before today? Yes.
Yes, like the criticism, like not everybody can hit 300 all the time. Like you have times where you're not seeing the ball well. You have times where you're seeing the ball better. This is part of the game, right? It doesn't mean you need to sit down for a week. It doesn't mean you need to explore trade options. It just means you need to be patient, play them every day. You know, kind of like in basketball, shooter's going to shoot, keep on shooting, keep on swinging, and you will figure it out. Good players figure it out. Santander has been around long enough, been hitting long enough, effective long enough that he'll figure it out.
All right. Is it fair for me to still be critical of Ramon?
Yeah.
I got an email this week from someone complaining, I love the show, but it's not Urias. It's not how you say it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Part of the charm of this show is that I say names wrong.
Okay. Well, you say names wrong because you can't say it right. But if you want to say you're doing it on purpose, I'm okay with that. But the mispronunciation of names is not a new idea here. But
how about I find Ramon extremely frustrating when he's in the lineup. And I'm starting to find myself frustrated at Cedric Mullins. And wonder.
Well, I just made this argument that we shouldn't be overreacting, and now you're saying how now you're throwing the hate out to these guys.
No, I am asking you, is it fair to hate these two, or am I overreacting again?
Yeah, it's interesting because both these guys bring a lot of value defensively. Cedric Mullins is an elite center fielder.
Correct.
Elite center fielder.
Correct.
And Ramon Arias is a former, Gold Glove winning, stayed all the time, third baseman.
But I don't think he's that good of a third baseman. But I'll give you it.
Okay, he's also a guy that can play first base, I think, at an above average level, along with third base at above average level, second base in a pinch if you need him to. So, but it clearly feels right if you were laying out kind of weak spots that Ramon Arias is the weak spot on offense. Like one of these things does not fit. Jorge Mateo is contributing. Ryan McKenna is even contributing. Ramon Arias has contributed less. So that's a fact. Now, so if you want to nitpick with that, that's fine. And I think eventually, Ramon Arias, in terms of playing time, is playing the least. So that also says something. I think Manager Hyde doesn't disagree with you. Which, by the way, at some point today or another episode, we need to get into Manager Hyde's decision-making. We can talk about the bullpen later. But I think the lineup construction has been really, really good. I love how much he's played Mateo. I like Mateo at second base. I really appreciate how consistent he's been with Cowser. I know recently Cowser hasn't played as much as we were hoping. I wish he would play Kerstedt a little bit more. I really like what he's done with Adley Rutschman in playing a lot of DH for McCann. And by the way, someone who says there's not room for Basallo and Rutschman isn't paying attention because there's plenty of opportunities for McCann to get at bats. And so Basallo, I think, will be the same. And you could even, get more creative, because McCann is just in there because they're trying to get Rutschman rest and not have him play DH and not have him catch all the time. if they actually had another effective hitter, they would get that guy even more playing time.
Correct.
But I think Manager Hyde's lineup construction has been really good. Now, Cedric Mullins, this I feel like is going on for a while now, right? Like last year, Cedric Mullins struggled too. 2 years ago, he's great. Last year, he was great defensively, but struggled offensively. This year, he's struggling offensively. Again, the defense, though, adds so much, and your lineup is already so good. I mean, I would like to see Cedric Mullins bat in ninth. Like, my thing would be just moving down the lineup. Bat him ninth. If he hits 240, I think you can live with that with his great defense. But should he sit every now and then and let Colton Cowser run around center field? I'd be okay with that.
Well, he's down to a 206 batting average, and the way Hyde handled that is he gave him the day off today and let McKenna play center.
Right.
And it worked out. McKenna's like, what, 375?
Yeah, it's all the lefty thing. I think that's the last option for Hyde where he can do the platoon situation like he does with O'Hearn for the most part, like he does with Kerstedt, where you just don't play him against lefties.
Right.
And Mullins has been an everyday player. And I think the next move is say you don't play him against lefties. Now, the problem is the way this offense is constructed, that means you're going to McKenna in the outfield or with another lefty like Cowser. But we don't have another elite righty. Now, when Austin Hayes gets back, maybe you're more likely to play Austin Hayes and platoon Cedric Mullins. So it'd be interesting to watch. I mean, it's something to watch if Cedric Mullins starts playing less against lefties. I think that's the next kind of shoe to drop is if he continues to struggle, he'll stop getting as many at-bats against lefties.
Now, Hyde has also been using the DH slot as like a resting point. It's a spot where we've seen a lot of Adley in there. Today we saw Henderson in there. With it being used as that like day off, but you're still batting for the better players, how are we going to get Kerstedt more at-bats on this team?
Yeah, the problem is we have too many lefties, right? Like, because O'Hearn takes that spot against righties. And Cowser is in the outfield, and Mullins and Santander being the switch hitter, and O'Hearn being the DH. Like, you have all your righty lefty matchups there without Kerstedt. So it means you're sitting Santander, or you're sitting, I guess O'Hearn's going to first, and you're sitting Mountcastle, or which, Mountcastle is an everyday player. So someone's sitting for Kerstedt to play, and that's been the problem. Like, where is Kerstedt's playing time coming from? Well, the answer in short is it's not, and that's what we've seen, right? He's played how many times this week? Twice, maybe?
Right.
And I'd like to see him play a lot more than twice a week. But where do you play him? I think that something to continue to watch is how often you can get Kerstedt playing time.
Right.
Now, if you want to sit Mullins every now and then you can swing Cowser to center, put Kerstedt in left.
Right. Otherwise, what's the point of Kerstedt being on this team if he's not getting at bats? Yeah,
I also he played. Was it against the Reds? I think where he played a game in left field. Was that Friday night? I think he played. And it's interesting. He played left field, and I don't think he's ever played left field at Camden Yards. Like I don't think they want him to play left field at Camden Yards. And so maybe being away increases his chance because he can play left field, and you keep Santander at right because you don't have that deep left field like you do at Camden Yards, where Kerstedt's defense could be exposed a little bit more.
Yeah, and he did decent on Friday night. He got 2 walks and a hit.
Yeah. He's played well. He's hit the ball hard, and so I think his play warrants more playing time. I think Hyde wants to get him in more playing time. Again, it's just kind of where to play him. And this is why when everyone complained about McKenna being chosen over Norby, I was like, guys, this is not – you don't want Norby here because it's going to drive you nuts to see him on the bench every day. Trust me, it's going to be more frustrating. And I'm not at that point yet with Kerstedt. I'm glad he's here. But I could get to the point where, like, I just get frustrated that he's on the team if he's not going to play.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I mentioned Silas said Colton Cowser was his favorite player.
Yeah.
It was the one jersey he wanted out of 2. The other one was a non-Oriole. Can you take one guess who a non-Oriole jersey that he would want?
Austin Riley.
No, it was actually not a Brave.
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, Ohtani. Which I can't knock him for that. I would not mind having an Ohtani jersey if we're being honest here. I think he's a pretty cool player.
Yeah, I mean, at least it wasn't Judge.
Yeah, no, he would never
Never
say
choose
that.
a Yankee.
He would never say a Yankee. The other guy he kind of mentioned, like kind of thinking through, was actually Julio Rodriguez, which I thought was interesting. I think because he does him a lot of the show with the home run derby. I think that's why.
If you were to take a non-Oriole baseball jersey, who would you want?
Hey, do you know what I saw the other day? I'm going to stall for a second.
I was going to say, you're like, distraction. Let's talk about something else.
Salas pointed this out to me. I didn't see it, but Salas said he saw it, and I believe him. A City Connect jersey, a Cal Ripken City Connect jersey.
Yeah, I've seen those going around.
Okay.
I don't know if they're official or if they're DH Gate type thing.
What do you think about that? What do you think about a Jim Palmer, a Brooks Robinson, Eddie Murray City Connect jersey? Is that something cool to rock?
They're official.
Okay.
I do not have a problem with that.
I kind of like it.
I do not have a problem. I have my Ripken jersey is a 90s style Ripken jersey because I wanted like a classic, like one that style Ripken wore on the field. But I have no problem with the City Connects of the throwback players. Yeah,
my first thought was that they're kind of cool. And then my next thought was, to your point, they're not the accurate era of when they played. And I think about everyone, all the Oriole fans who ripped the Yankees fans for wearing like the inauthentic, because they have the names on the back. I'm like, people rip me for having it. They think I don't know that Brooks Robinson didn't play with the City Connect jerseys.
Right. The only problem I have with it is that right now there are far too many good players on the team that you should be rocking their jerseys.
Yeah,
I totally understand a few years ago buying the Ripkins, buying the Robinsons, because there were no good current guys. I didn't want to buy a current Oriole jersey. So I would get it. Currently that's until Rutschman, I would wear the Ripken jersey. I would wear my Ripken jersey to the ball field because I didn't want to wear, because I had an Adam Jones. He's no longer on the team. A Nick Markakis, no longer on the team. Manny Machado, no longer on the team. And I would look at the construction of the team and be like, I don't want to invest money in any of those guys. So I'm going with the throwback Ripken. Right now, in 2024, if I'm to buy a jersey, number one is Gunnar Henderson. Number two is Adley Rutschman. Then
no Jackson Holiday on that list?
Number 3, Jackson Holiday. Number 4, I don't know. It could be Burns. It could be Bradish. It could be
Rodriguez.
It could be Kowser. It could be even Mateo. I'd be okay with. There's the only person on this team whose jersey I would not buy today is probably Arias. McKenna. I wouldn't buy McKenna either. And I honestly wouldn't personally invest in an O'Hearn jersey. But I can see if you would. You know what? Westberg might be my next purchase.
Yeah.
I didn't mention Westberg, but that's my problem with buying a Ripken City Connect right now, is there's far too many good players out there.
Yeah. I agree. And so what about your outside the Orioles?
Mike Trout.
Oh, really?
Even
given the current state of Mike Trout?
Yeah, Mike Trout.
Okay.
Because at that point, I don't care about current state. I care about what he represents.
Yeah, I get that. I heard, I was talking to Dad.
Unless I can do like a throwback 90s jersey. If you want like a current player, it's Mike Trout.
Yeah. Wait, you do throwback? What, you do Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, it's Griffey. Griffey all day.
Yeah, I was talking to Dad because he was actually up here to witness that amazing Little League victory. He was here stopping by on his way up north. And, we were talking about the Mike Trout injury.
Yeah.
And I told Dad, I was like, this is stupid, but I would want and I know the Angels will never trade Mike Trout. And Mike Trout will just, he's a loyalist. He'll be happy to stay with them. And he's also still owed like $210 million and his body's broken down. So it's not worth it to trade for him.
But he's just a good guy.
I would love for the Orioles to trade for him, if for no other reason that I want him to be on a winning team.
Yes, I
And so
agree.
I want to just even if you're hurt,
It's-
we'll trade for you just so you can come with us, stay on the injured list, and be on the team and be part of a team
It's pretty
that can be
amazing.
competitive in the playoffs.
It's pretty amazing that the Angels have had Mike Trout forever. They had Ohtani for a long time and still couldn't win anything.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
So it's and now Trout's body unfortunately is broken down. See, I was going the opposite direction. Like you went, and that's interesting. That's where your mind went. Like my mind went. I sure was fun to watch De La Cruz this
Yeah,
weekend.
that's what I was going to say. The 22-year-old for the Reds.
Yeah, also
fun.
O'Neal Cruz for the Pirates. Tall, lanky, hits the ball, 200 miles per hour. I think some of these young players, I really like the way Bobby Witt Jr. plays, but he's on the Royals, and I don't like the Royals given the Orioles' history with the Royals, so I really can't go the Bobby Witt Jr. way.
No,
But I went more to some of these kind of young, exciting players we see right now.
I get that. I enjoyed the way Jonah Heim plays over in Texas.
Yeah,
it's impressive to see a guy we used to know do so well. It is really cool to see this next generation of ball players come up.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, there was those cool moments with De La Cruz and Gunnar Henderson over at after Gunnar Henderson hit a double or whatever, them high five and hanging out at second base. That was pretty cool.
Agreed. No, baseball as a whole, even outside of Baltimore, it's just a great time to get back into baseball. If you fell out for years, it's an exciting time. And if you're an Orioles fan, this is the time. If you grew up an Orioles fan, now's the time to come back. It's just so exciting.
Yeah, and if this is serious, and people are talking around do the Orioles have the best rotation in baseball?
I seriously think this week they did.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this weekend, our starting rotation gave up 0 runs. So I would argue this week our starting rotation was better than anybody. I don't know what everybody else did.
But even the past 2 weeks, for our entire pitching staff to put up a 2.23, that's crazy. In 13 games.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. It's good. But if you look even at starter ERA, just filter starter ERA, right now the Orioles are 6th in baseball, which is great, but we're not first in baseball. We're 6th with an ERA of 3.18.
Well, can you sort that for the last 2 weeks?
Again, Josh. Again, though, I don't know why you're obsessed with 2 weeks.
I don't know.
Do you think the best rotation in baseball should be the last 2 weeks? Is that how that
I want this
stat works?
to continue.
So I mean that's the question though, right? Is if Kramer and Irvin and John Means, those 3 guys, can continue to pitch somewhat like this, maybe not 0 runs, right? But pitch extremely well. In addition to having Corbin Burns and Cobb Radish, and then eventually soon, because he's already started throwing again, Grayson Rodriguez. Josh, we're going to win 110 games. It's done with this offense. You could argue our weak spot was maybe the 3 to 5 in the rotation, especially in spring training when Cobb Radish got hurt. You're like, oh crap!
Right.
Cobb Radish out. We got Corbin Burns. We got Rodriguez. Then but now we have. It looks like we have excellence from 1 to 6, and there's 6 guys out there. And so, and this is unfortunate for Tyler Wells because there's no chance Tyler Wells is sniffing the starting rotation right now.
He's out.
So hopefully he can transition to a nice bullpen role, like we saw Suarez has transitioned already to the bullpen role. There's 1 or 2 people in the world pining for him to be the closer. I don't think I would go that far.
Dad and Dad?
Dad. But it's interesting to see how his role. I don't think Hyde knows what Suarez's role is going to be yet, so he's going to throw him in some kind of blowout games to figure out kind of what his stuff looks like coming out of the pen.
Right.
So that's if he's a long man, if he's a late leverage man, and that's how I feel like with this bullpen. I feel like we're figuring it out. I mean, we saw, which I thought was one of the more a really gutsy move. You never see this where Kimbrel came in to save a game.
And they pulled him.
And he gave up 1 run, and they pulled him. when the save was still intact, right? Usually you wait for the guy to blow the save,
Right.
and then you pull them. Here it was still 2-1. The save was still intact, and they pulled him.
Yes.
Which and Kimbrel's a veteran; he's been around, so so it could have Kimbrel could have had some words saying kind of what are you doing because it's unusual. Even Silas said to me, Silas and I were watching the game together, and Silas was like, "They're going to bring no." I was like, "No, they're going to let Kimbrel pitch to one more guy,"
Right.
and Silas was right, and they pulled him. And Cano ended up working out. So props to Hyde for pulling the right strings there.
A great move.
But I also feel like Kimbrel maybe can't pitch back-to-back games, right? Like he pitched really well after he had 3 days rest. Maybe can't go back-to-back games. I don't know if you can have a closer who can't pitch back-to-back games, but I have very little confidence in. I have a good bit of confidence in Kimbrel on 3 days rest. I don't have very good confidence in Kimbrel back-to-back.
No, I don't have any. I have no confidence in Kimbrel right now. Cano, I've got all the confidence in the world in Cano. That even in that game that Kimbrel tried to blow and Cano comes in, I felt good with Cano in there.
Really? I wasn't feeling good.
I thought the guy on third might score and we go to extras.
Yeah.
Is where I felt. But do you know that whip, which is based on like walks and hits and innings pitched?
Per innings pitched, yeah.
We are second in all of baseball in whip.
What does that mean? For the starters, relievers, or just our whole pitching
all of
staff?
pitching, our entire pitching staff.
For the last 2 weeks, you're saying?
No, for the whole season. For the whole season, we are at 1.09. And I think it's the Dodgers who are at 105 right above us.
Wow. That's an impressive stat. Yeah.
So, I mean,
because I guess one of the reasons that shows is kind of our walks have been way down this year, too. I would imagine as far as walks that we give up, we're first for giving up the fewest walks, right?
Yeah, it's just Kimbrel. Kimbrel gives up walks, but that's it.
Yeah, I mean, if you just looked at our starters, we talked about how deep they went into all these games this weekend. One walk combined,
right? Yeah.
All of them, and so we just don't get free passes. We also don't take free passes. We don't like to walk. We hit the ball, which I'm okay with.
Well, you know what team has the most home runs in baseball?
Oh, it's not even close, Josh. It's not even close.
We are up 7 runs. We have 54 runs. Behind us is the Dodgers at 47.
Yeah. This team hits home runs. I mean, that's how they score those runs. And if McKenna start hitting home runs, forget about it's over.
McKenna's got what, 2 home runs in like 3 games?
And same with Mateo.
Mateo. Well. So everybody on this team hits.
Yeah, that's the thing, Josh. This reminds me of the Braves last year. All right, so 5 home runs or more at this point in the season. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys who have 5 home runs or more.
Yes, that's impressive.
It's wild. It's wild. It's not 2 guys who are kind of crushing. I mean, Gunnar Henderson leads the team, and because he's still up there leading all of baseball with 10 home runs.
Yeah, we are leading baseball in slugging percentage at 451.
Yeah.
Tied with the Dodgers there.
Yeah.
And then remember, we used to, for years, talk about run differential and how, it doesn't mean anything because the Orioles were always negative run differential. And we're plus 55 right now. So we're scoring runs. What was it, 11 runs today? I mean, this team scores.
Yeah, 11. Yeah. Yeah, and we don't need to because we don't give many runs, Josh. But
it's nice to have them. I'm not going to turn them down. If we could I would just like to take those 11 runs and just if we could space them out into 5 games, that would be helpful.
Yeah. The only thing that's weird, and again, I'll go back to this. We mentioned this before on the show, but we're just not walk. The only offensive stat that throws me off, and I kind of think it's like on purpose, but we just don't walk anymore, and we're just not trying to walk. And if you look at walks, the only team who has fewer walks than us are the White Sox.
Yeah.
The other teams that are down there with us, the Rockies and Marlins. So the bottom 3 or the bottom 4, White Sox, Orioles, Rockies, and Marlins. Right. And Angels, if you want to have Angels, says top 5. What team does not fit with the rest?
Right. And you would think that would mean that we're just being aggressive at the plate and we're not getting walks. But you look at our batting average, and our team batting average is 251. It's 8th in baseball. And when you think about take Mullins and Urias out of that, who are really dragging that down, like we're being aggressive and we're getting hits. It's working. We're not striking out.
Yeah, our strikeouts are kind of middle of the road, right? We're 287, kind of middle of the road strikeouts, and like you said, we're first in home runs. So I think people like there's individual players, right, who are walking less than did last year, like Adley Rutschman, right? I feel like he was a walking machine last year. He's not walking as much, but he's also hitting for, especially recently, some more pop and hit for high average. So he's hitting 324. I think he's part of that 5 home run group, but only has 8 walks.
Right. But then you've got guys like Henderson and Mountcastle whose walk rate is way up. Even Kowser gets walked a lot.
Yeah, Kowser's walked a lot, yeah. But if you were to tell me that Mountcastle would have more walks than Adley Rutschman,
he clearly worked on that this offseason. He clearly worked on pitch selection because his walk rate definitely increased.
Yeah. So it's just kind of a weird stat, and I wonder maybe it'll even out throughout the whole season. But certainly whatever they're doing, keep on doing it because the offense is humming. And they're scoring runs, they're hitting home runs,
and they're just fun to watch. It's worth turning on every game.
How would you have the stats pulled up? How are they? I feel like they're not stealing a ton of bases. How are they in the in terms of? Do you have the stats pulled up in terms of stolen bases? How they rank?
Yeah, they're pretty low. Let's see, stolen bases.
The Reds were first in all of baseball, and
we are 11th with 26 stolen bases. The Reds have 57, and they are tied with another team that also has 57. Do you know who the other team is that steals a lot of bases?
I think I do, only because they were talking about on the broadcast how we're about to face the 2 kind of most aggressive base running teams. I think it's the Nationals, right?
It is. Yeah,
they got DJ Abrams and stuff. Yeah.
That one player for the Reds is extremely fast.
But I tell you what, it's hard to steal bases when you never get on base.
Yes, correct.
So that was the Reds' problem. They didn't go stealing crazy because they didn't get on base enough.
Right. And I know we're talking stolen bases, but I need to transition that speed to just talk about Jorge Mateo and that play with the overthrow to first base on was that Friday or Saturday night, where he booked it over to the wall and threw that guy out at second.
Yeah.
No one can make that play. And that throw was perfect from Mateo out there.
Yeah, I think it was maybe Jonathan India who was up, who got to second base and didn't even slide. He just kind of looked down like he was shocked that the ball was there. Because he was not expecting the guy to get the ball and get to second base like that.
Because it's one of those plays where every other team just gives you second base.
Yeah, it's an overthrow. You jog, pick it up.
Take second base. We'll get the ball back in. You never see that play made. And I think only Mateo can make that play.
Well, it reminds me of what we saw last year. Remember that play with Gunnar Henderson where there was the guy nonchalantly tossed it in from the outfield and he ran from second to third on the nonchalant toss?
Right. And then Mateo
kind of take these things for granted. And Jorge Mateo didn't take it for granted. He also there made a great throw. And Mateo has been contributing defensively and offensively. And people might say he's just a placeholder till Jackson Holiday kind of gets his stuff worked out.
I love watching Mateo.
What a great placeholder to have.
I love watching Mateo. And I feel like as they've been putting him in the outfield and stuff, the goal with Mateo now is how can we get him in the game more without taking up another person's spot.
Yeah, someone said there's I tell you, I feel like Jacob Calvin Meyer, who is he, reporter for the Baltimore Sun?
Yeah.
He said, I think it was him who tweeted out, it's a rough weekend for all you Mateo haters. And I'm thinking, who are the Mateo haters? I've never met a Mateo hater in my life. People love the way Mateo plays, and we always have.
Yeah.
I don't see Mateo hate out there at all. Maybe I'm missing it.
I think there must be. I think there's people that love to hate all the bench players.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this before. I think we want everyone to be a superstar. And Mateo is not Mateo at times has the ability and talent of a superstar with his speed and his power. But Mateo for us is a good role player and freaking fun to watch on the bases and in the field.
Yeah.
And even when he's hitting 200, he can bring so many things. And now he's not hitting 200. He's hitting better than that. But even when he's hitting 200, he brings so many other things to the game and his speed and defense that I don't know. I think he's like your perfect bench player. And when he's playing like this, a great starter. I think a lot of other teams would like to have him. I wonder if the trade deadline, and when people see Jackson Holiday is ready to come up, and people see Mateo playing second. I don't know if other teams say, "Well, we could use a starter and shortstop," and Mateo looks pretty good right now. I'm curious to see if we get some phone calls like that. But
no, it's definitely going to be interesting for this team to get to the trade deadline because we have so much depth.
Josh, we have so much depth,
But
and we have so few needs.
That's what I was going to say. What do we need? The people who say, "Oh, well, we got to bring in a real closer." I think we might have that on staff already.
Well,
because it's just for this year. We got Batista back next year.
Yeah, and I would argue 99% of the people are going to be on the trade deadline, or going to be on the trade block for relievers, are going to be not much better than what you already have. Right? If we want to trade for a closer, I only want an elite level closer.
Right. And
a good closer, I think we have. If you can sell me on an elite level closer, but I don't know if an elite level closer is going to be available at the trade deadline. We'll know when we get a little bit closer. A, and then B, I don't know if you want to give up a bunch of prospects for, as you said, Josh, a position that we really only need for this season.
Right.
But then you have all this depth, and if you want to make a move because where's Norby going to play?
But then what? Do you really want to bring in a rental?
Yeah, there's no need, right? There's no obvious need on this team at this point. Now, maybe an injury will happen, maybe something will happen, and it forces your hand. But at this point, if you're at the trade deadline, like the trade deadline was tomorrow, you're like, oh, I don't know. Like, yeah, we could probably upgrade the bullpen, but bullpen arms are so finicky as it is. And we could probably figure it out in-house, and we have Tyler Wells coming back. So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch. But, again, we're a long ways from the trade deadline, and injuries happen and other stuff happens. So, we'll see. It's going to be in a weird position to have depth and lack of needs.
Correct.
But
it's awesome.
Yeah. Episode's gone by fast, Josh.
I know. I just looked. I was like, oh, we passed an hour. I got a big warning that Instagram dropped off because Instagram drops off after an hour.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But we covered a lot of things. I think it's just that the Orioles are so much fun.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't get into the nitty-gritty of some individual performances. We talked about some team stats and team performances. And maybe over the course, in future episodes, we can get into kind of these individual players. But right now, it's just like we're hitting on all cylinders, and it's not going to last. It feels when you're going well, it feels like we're going to win every single game. Listen, it's not going to last. Starters are going to struggle, but right now, man, we got to ride as long as we can. And I tell you what, it doesn't get a lot harder, right?
No.
What do we have? We have the Nationals, and we have an easy team at the Nationals, right?
Let's see. After the Nationals, we have the Diamondbacks.
Oh, it does get harder. Never mind.
And the Blue Jays.
Okay.
And the Mariners.
Okay, it does get harder.
You know what? You know what I was looking at today or yesterday? This weekend. As you know, with my new schedule, I have worked different hours and I can now work from anywhere.
Yeah.
Which means we're thinking of taking a trip. So there's an upcoming road game that I'm like, well, maybe we should fly up and see this game. City I've never been to.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Can you guess what stadium I'm looking at traveling to soon?
I mean, not Arizona.
I'll give you a clue. Round trip flights out of Orlando were under $200.
Oh, so we talking about somewhere in like the Northeast?
Yes. Something in the north.
Talking Toronto?
We're talking Toronto.
Oh, I'm surprised tickets are that cheap to Toronto.
No, I was impressed. There's Canadian, I guess because all the people come down for Disney. So there's some cheap Canadian flights.
Oh.
And right now the dollar spends well in Canada, it looks like.
All right.
So we're looking at maybe going up for that Toronto series in early June.
Yeah.
Check the Rogers Center off the list.
Yeah. That should be an interesting game. I mean, the Blue Jays are struggling.
Thankfully we get them at home before that series.
Yeah. Yeah.
So next week we've got them at home.
The Nationals, I know people think the Nationals are a joke. They've won 7 out of the last 10. They're sitting at a 500 record. They're third in the AL East. I mean, the NL East. So the Nationals have been playing really good ball lately. So I don't think we should take that 2-game series lightly. There's going to be a couple good games.
Yeah. Yep.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about we try to set some guidelines next week to force us to talk about some individual players? Like, let's have a little segment talking about like some highs and lows of the week or something.
All right, for individual players.
For individual players, so we each have a few that we want to discuss next week. So because hopefully the team's still playing on all cylinders. So talking about how well the team plays as a whole, that's always fun. But next week let's focus on some individual players.
Josh, that's going to involve you doing some show prep. Are you sure you're up for that?
What? I've got show prep in front of me all the time. Show prep for this means I'm watching the game.
Yeah, at least this episode we're not distracted by watching the game as well.
Huh?
At least this episode we're not distracted by also watching the game.
Well, isn't that why we switched to Sunday nights?
Yeah.
Because there's no games going on.
Yeah. All right, let's get out of here, guys. You can check us out on social media, all your social media platforms.
Yep.
TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. If you haven't written us a review for Apple Podcasts, what are you waiting for? Go to Apple Podcasts, leave us 5 stars, tell us what you like about the show. If you have a criticism, you can email Josh personally.
Now
if you have some good to say,
fill out the contact form at section336.com.
Okay.
That's what this person did.
Okay, yeah, that just goes right to Josh.
It does, and I did not forward that one to you because it was a little criticism.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we do have a new review.
All right.
It came in on Thursday from the username Arlo Blows.
Okay.
5 stars. Subject, Norfolk. What he has to say is pronounced Norfolk. And that's our review.
All right. With the pronunciations, I love it. I'll take 5 stars and a comment about how we pronounce Norfolk all day. So
exactly. That's why I'm
as long as you're 5 stars, you can talk about Josh's pronunciations of Arias, criticize him for saying Povic instead of Povich, whatever you want, or criticize me for saying Povich.
And I can't wait till Povic comes up.
Yeah. I can't wait to have him on the show to prove you wrong.
Yeah, man, he's pitching well.
He's pitching well too, but sorry, Povich, there's not room right now.
Exactly.
You got to wait, dude.
Yeah.
But all right.
Yeah. Take a look this week at how Bowie's playing as well. They're playing really good too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Good time to be an Orioles fan.
Yeah. I mean, we normally in the past, we talked a lot more about minors, but it feels like a lot of guys are already here and we don't need to distract ourselves from the Major League roster by talking about the minors.
Correct.
So we're giving less love to the minors with good reason because a lot of the guys are already here and because this Major League team is so entertaining. But all right, boys and girls, thanks for listening. You can follow me on X at Section 336. You can follow Josh on X
at Josh Soroka. And remember, Adley has more hits than Lamar.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always, go O's.